Hello and welcome everyone to A Medium's World. I am truly honored and incredibly grateful to be able to not only share in these conversations night after night, but to also begin to bring a sense of unity and connectedness and community for mediums everywhere. So thank you for being here, and thank you, of course, for your support and for this opportunity, of course, to be of service. Mediumship is a real powerful and unique and very catalytic healing modality. However, we as mediums can go through some incredible challenges in terms of coming forward, not only in expressing our truth, but also in our engagement with the spirit world. So learning how to develop, learning and navigating our sensitivities with the spirit world is such an important part of us being able to show up and be in service for others. And so it does take not just a willingness to be of service in this way, but a deep commitment to ensuring that we are taking care of ourselves, that we are honoring not only those in whom, we do readings for, but we're also honoring ourselves in the process of it, so that we can be in a position or in an energy where we can show up and really be of greatest benefit for the person that we're doing the readings for, of course, and greatest benefit for the spirit world, while still being of a source of benefit and engaged in a healthy way within our day-to-day life. So I'm hoping that these conversations and the things that are being shared here throughout this event are definitely helping and supporting your journey and honoring yourself through the process as well. So before we officially bring our guest on, our special guest here tonight, Shauna JacksonCrabb, before we bring her into the conversation, I want to take an opportunity and bring us all again into a connection and community through a short prayer and meditation, giving ourselves an opportunity to really come together and be present with each other in this moment in a beautiful way, regardless of where you are in the world, regardless of when you are tuning into this conversation. So again, I'm just inviting you to take this opportunity to close your eyes, to fall deep within your heart center, and just to take a big inhale, just inhaling this breath of life that helps us to be in this world, the breath of life that helps us in terms of not only our energy in life, but also giving us the ability to breathe and to be in this life, to be fully present, to be fully engaged, to be fully in receivership of not only what is the abundance that is seeking to be blessed and bestowed upon us, not only the blessings of health and wellness that are looking to be blessed upon us, but our birthright, that birthright of joy, the birthright of our peace, the birthright of our own sanctity and worthiness in this life. So it is through the breath that we connect to who we are. It is through our breath that we connect to each other, and it is through the breath that leads us through and in connection to the unseen, because our breath is the very thing that gives us life. And as we inhale and exhale, it allows us to settle, it allows us to calm, and it allows us to drop into our heart space, where we are met with not only a sense of presence and peace, but a sense of unconditional love, a love that is comforting, a love that is soothing, a love that is connecting, and a love in which we are so worthy of experiencing and living and expressing within our life. And so we allow this love that resounds inside of each of us, to be the guiding lead, but also to be our anchor, to keep us stable and secure and held in our life, regardless of the challenges. And that allows us to be expressive, to know and to be within our world in a way that is rich with the unfolding grace of the divine, rich in the blessings of the universe, rich in this love that transcends space and time, and this love that keeps us through the stillness of our breath, through this connection of our hearts, within connection to the non-physical world, to those in whom we love in spirit who have gone on before us. For our loved ones aren't a part of our past, but they hold space for our future. And it is through this beautiful love connection, through the breath that is breathing us, and through the intention that we hold within our heart, that we're able to tap in, we're able to receive, we're able to communicate and be present in spirit with each other, heart to heart, across the globe, and across time and space into the world of the unseen, the world of the holy and of the light, of that which we are a part of. Oh, and so just breathing into that, allowing yourself to be soothed and held and cared for. Allowing this love that is there, this love that is reaching across the heavens, this love that is a part of us, this love that keeps us connected. We give joyous gratitude. We give such a deep appreciation and acknowledgement of the everlasting life, this eternal life, the knowing and the trust that it goes on beyond our physical self, beyond this physical existence. And it is this love, this unconditional love, that keeps us forever tethered, forever connected, our lives forever intertwined. And it is this knowing in which we praise and we rejoice in, this steadfast connection, a connection that's always been there and will always be there, regardless of the physical or non-physical form. And so we sink into the breath and we sink into our hearts and we sink into this knowing, rejoicing in appreciation and rejoicing in each other, and rejoicing in this wonderful time that we get to spend speaking and sharing, being seen, heard, valued, and a part of a community of purpose beyond the ordinary. Just tapping in and being a part of something, a community of something extraordinary. And so it's from this place that we say, thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is, amen. The love that unites, the love that binds. We celebrate this and we celebrate each other. And so it is. Beautiful. Oh my gosh. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Coming back here to circle. Oh my goodness. Okay. I could stay in that state and in the experience of that love and connection forever. And it's so good to know that, of course, we have ability to go there and to be there at any particular time. And of course, to experience that love so effortlessly, just as we did here for a few moments. Now, in experiencing what is this beautiful love, this energy that holds us, that is so unconditional, it's really, a privilege and honor to bring Shauna JacksonCrabb into our conversation. She is an integrative mystic, and she is everything that love is, and she shows up time and time again through her techniques and her modalities in order to channel and to be the light and to offer the guidance and give readings, and really helping people to transform their lives through these magical tools and this blend of the mystical that she brings to the table. Shauna, I'm so thrilled to have you here, and oh my gosh, to share in this conversation. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you, Bonnie. I'm so happy to be here tonight. Thank you, everyone. That meditation, oh, you're right. I could sit there forever.
Right?
So thank you.
You're welcome. Oh my gosh, you are so welcome. And I think that is, the presence of not only what we can realize inside of ourselves, but is always available. And when we come into a community like this with, someone who is so giving and so loving and so kind as what you are, that this is something that transcends and can really be held and felt by all of us. And so our energy speaks for us all the time. And that definitely was speaking to everyone who's gathered here tonight to share in story with you. So, Shauna, of course, I know you. We've had conversations. I know what your journey has been like, but I'm really excited for you to begin to have and to have the chance for people to hear your story, because it is again this waking up to the spirit world and really being able to understand who you are and show up in the world as you are, of course, has come with its highs and lows for you, just like we've heard so many stories already here tonight. So let's let everyone really get to know you, and if you can just begin to share, when was it that you begin to have your earliest experiences with the spirit world? What kind of stood out for you in terms of the fact that you were not necessarily one to actually fit in?
Yeah. Thanks, Bonnie. Well, we'll start with I had a imaginary friend when I was younger, like everyone. Her name was Stacy, and I played with her every day for years and years. And she was sent to be my friend before my sister arrived. My parents were having a bit of a hard time conceiving, and so she came as one of my spirit guides, friends, imaginary friends.
Yes, yes.
And after she left, I siblings came along, and I learned that I had this special ability to actually move a tin can with my hands without touching it. And that for me was amazing. Like as a kid, you think, wow, this is cool, but who can I tell?
Right.
Like, who can I tell that I can do this? I'll tell my best friend. You can tell your best friend anything. And it was at that time that I found out you can't. You
Yeah.
can't tell everybody everything. And for me, I wasn't that old. I was, in early elementary school. And for me, that was kind of my first moment of like, you don't tell people all the things that you can do. And um, yeah, so that was kind of how it started for me. Like learning about spirit and learning how it worked. And then it just kind of, I think with that experience, I just didn't try for a really long time.
Hmm.
And then my brother passed away about, oh my gosh, like in 2009.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's when everything started just not being able to be forgotten.
Right. Right. So it's
You know?
and as you share that, so I think
Mhm.
it's important, like so many people go through those experiences where, you've opened up, you've shared some truth, you had something amazing happening, and you tell someone who you believe or think is going to understand, and they don't. And so that really causes, you to shut down and pull back, and then to go through the loss of, a very symbolic loss and an important loss can be the very catalyst that begins to open up and help and beginning to activate again, not only the connection to the other side, but some of those gifts and talents and abilities that were long suppressed or forgotten about. And so your brother, of course, tell us a little bit about that. Like, did he start showing up? He started talking to you. He was asking you for help. What was this all? What was this experience like for you?
Well, when he passed away, it was more like was, it was a kind of a tragic event in our family. It was unexpected. It wasn't, you know, um, one of those passings away that you thought you would expect.
Right.
We just got a phone call. We like the whole family had a really bad feeling that day, which we found out later talking, as you do. But once the whole family gathered at my parents' house, that's when we could really feel him around us. And there was a windstorm. I say windstorm because
Yeah.
we have a lot of windstorms here in Alberta. They're not that large. They're,
Right.
they're not like other places, they
Right.
get
Right.
windy. But when we woke up the next day, the entire yard, like there were poplar trees everywhere.
Wow.
Like he had visited, he definitely was angry, and that whew, he was mad at himself, you know. Uh, it doesn't get easier.
No, no, it really doesn't.
Doesn't
And
get
it's,
easier.
yeah.
So yeah, for him, like visiting like that, and later, once I started leaning into the fact that Dusty was there, Dusty was visiting, Dusty was, bringing us everything you could bring, lights on and off, butterflies, you name it. It's all in the book. It
Yes.
all was there. Like just
Yes.
all of the spiritual smatterings you can have. And I say spiritual smatterings, but
I think it's good.
really like,
But it is. It's like all the different various ways that our loved ones start to show themselves and make their presence known. And so, even to have, as you said, this wind experience and what it represented and what it was a part of, everything holds a significance, especially when we look at spirit communication. And so, those signs and those symbols and those things that come up, spirit brings communication in all kinds of ways. It's not necessarily because we're hearing a voice or we're having a vision of them, but can be where they use the nature and animals and different experiences for different things for us to experience, to know that their presence is here, from lyrics to feather to randomness of feathers to money. I would say nickels, dimes, and pennies. I've often said to my loved ones, can you leave the $100 bills? Those go a lot further in this day and age.
yes, I get a lot of Queen songs from my brother. Like
Oh,
they pop
see,
in my
yeah.
head just all the time
Wow,
from him.
amazing,
Yeah.
amazing,
Hmm.
amazing. So yeah, again, just feeling presence and things, happening in terms of your brother. When did you, like, what was it for you that kind of um became the moment where you said, you know what, I need to look at doing this kind of work. I need to explore the spiritual. I need to get in touch with my connection or my abilities. Like, what was it for you that led you to this path of opening up more in terms of communication and doing the work that you're doing today?
Yeah, great question, Bonnie. I think it was just a lot of events, like a lot of
Yeah.
events and a lot of just finally I took a crystal class. Is
Okay.
kind of how it started. Like I
Yes.
really dove into a crystal class and I started kind of getting into the elements, the spiritual world, the elementals, as it
Elementals.
were.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's when it really started opening up for me. We did a lot of journeying, and that's when I really met my brother in the spirit world, and that was
Yeah.
fun. Yeah,
Yeah.
and he's such a joker. And I think it was at that time when I thought, okay, I'm hearing more in my head than what's just my voice. Like
Right.
that, why that thought's not mine. Where did
Yes.
that come from? And then I started hearing like you say, people will scream your name in the
Yes.
middle of the night. And what?
What?
That's what? That was
Who's
my
there?
name, but it's like 3 o'clock in the morning. Like
Yes.
who's screaming my name? And it was sort of that kind of thing. And I always thought, I don't know, something drew me to mediumship.
Mhm.
I like I did the crystals. I dove into astrology. I do tarot card. I've already done tarot card. I've done tarot cards since I was young, like in my 20s.
Wow.
And so I've always had that connection, but once um once we had that connection, I think that's what led me more and more deeper and deeper
Hmm.
into wanting to find out what the other gifts were that I had and the clairvoyance that I had,
Yes.
the clairgustance that I had.
Yeah. All
Yeah,
these things that, I mean,
yeah,
that were a part of how you were, going through life, but never realized were actually, relevant in terms of communication.
exactly. And
Yeah.
just clairaudience was really big for me. Like I
Hmm.
would journal, I would write a question, and all of a sudden I was journaling and it was just coming through my mind, but it wasn't it wasn't me making it up,
Right.
right?
Yes. Yes.
And that was cool and also made you feel like you were making it up. So you had to,
Exactly.
right,
Yes.
figure it out. You had to
Yes.
learn, like, what is this really all about? So then that led me, actually, I decided to take an animal communications class.
Okay. Yes.
Uh-huh. And it was animal mediumship and
Yes.
right, but it was called animal communications. It was very safe. So I thought, oh, that's safe. I can do that. That'll be fun,
Right.
and it was fun. And wow, that's when I got, the that's when I knew it was real, real, real. Like for
Yeah.
sure real.
Like
For
for
sure
sure, real,
Zoos.
like for
For
sure.
sure
Yeah.
Zoos are real. No take backs.
Well, and I think this is such an important thing because when we look at mediumship, when we understand that, just as what you've shared here already, and for those people who are tuning in and, and maybe just hearing this for the first time, is that, as I always say, mediumship is more than just speaking to those who are crossed over, those who are dead. Like it's so much more than that, that we have these abilities in which to engage with crystals and actually anything that really holds a consciousness, and that we can, as you said, as you open up, that you're the medium that's being used to deliver or bring in a message through your writing, that you don't even need to be in a place of knowing where the source is coming from. It's just a source of wisdom that is looking to speak or to direct or guide, and you're sitting down and writing that out, and just through a stream of consciousness that's being delivered. And then we also have capacities to be able to work with animals, and to understand that, as you say, spirit, the communication, animal communication, this is no different in understanding that it doesn't just necessarily mean someone who has died, and it doesn't just mean an animal who's died. It's actual communication with those who are still living and very much alive and still in physical form. And so being able to communicate, where, I mean, you look at the power of your ability to be able to move that can as a child, just demonstrating the power that you have to communicate in a way energetically that really doesn't require any words. And so being able to communicate with an animal is such a profound experience, especially when they start in response back to you, whether that be through, their whatever their, licking of their tongue or coming closer to you, or their acknowledgement, even in how they look and how they connect and how they are communicating back. So it's very, very profound. And as soon as we start dabbling and playing, we open up, to so much more than that. As you said, that's when you really start to believe that, okay, you know what, this actually is very real. This is very, all of these experiences, things begin to add up and add up and add up, where we can't even deny anymore that this is how life exists for us. Right.
No, I couldn't deny it anymore.
Yeah.
And but the thing is, like, now I can talk to live animals. Now I can talk to dead animals. Okay,
Right.
great.
Right.
Great. Okay. Cool. Cool. So
Yeah.
so during that course, there was a couple moments that really solidified it for me. So one was, it was at a place where they had a farm and they were bringing horses in, and they wouldn't tell you, they would just tell you the name. And after that, it was kind of like up to you to kind of figure out health ailments, and it was super cool. But this horse, I realized we had a connection. He started talking to me in an accent. Hello, la 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 la, like a British accent. And I was taken aback because, like I figure most of the things that have been coming streaming through my mind haven't been somebody's accent,
Right.
And so that was amazing to me. And I'm writing down, asking him mentally like all these questions, where he's from, why he's here, all this stuff. And if he enjoys living on the farm and things like you would ask a horse, like
Right.
and what was really cool is that afterwards you got confirmation. So we found out, yes, in fact, he was from England, this horse, and he came through Florida and all these things. And
Oh
it's
my gosh.
like that you can't make up. When you're all sitting
No.
silently breathing and you are hearing these things, that is when um it's real. It
Yes.
is real, real.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, the other one was we did an exercise, which is great to do, even if you're like a new medium starting out, is we put photographs of our loved ones, our pets, in envelopes. Okay. And then we traded with somebody and we sat with them and then we wrote all of our, what our intuitive hits were that we were getting. And I sat with this woman and we had a good reading and we were both very on. And then she was telling me about her pet, and it kept showing me this place just over and over. And the last thing she said to me was, "Oh, but I don't really know what happened to him."
Oh,
And I said, "I do. Do you want to know?"
wow. Wow.
Yeah. And that's when I got to describe to her where and what happened to him. And for her, that was just a really touching moment because, she was in the course the same as me. I don't think she
Right.
expected that she would get that answer. And well, Spirit's funny. It will bring you the answer when you need to hear the answer. And
Mhm.
yeah, it was just a really touching moment to be able to give her that gift and for me
Yeah.
to sit there almost with my mouth open going, oh, you know,
Right. It's
I did it.
yes. Not only did you did it, but and then there's this part of you that is so astounded by the ability to be able to bring this forward and through for someone. Like to me, this is what is so amazing about this is the fact that it never gets tiring to me. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm always looking at like what is else the spirit gonna do? What else is gonna happen? How am I going to be wowed this in this reading with spirit because something always is magical that unfolds from those encounters, but to be able to have and to provide someone with answers that they haven't been able to get before is a deeply fulfilling sense of purpose to that, deeply
Mhm.
fulfilling.
It really
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Amazing. Amazing. And so I think this also brings up, we're in, as I said, we communicate with animals, those who that are alive, those that are that are dead. And it's no different even for us in terms of each other. And when we look at understanding that, we as mediums can communicate with individuals who are in a coma, who have Alzheimer's, or who are in some kind of a state where perhaps they're not fully able to communicate in terms of regular communication, but an altered state that through an altered state we're able to communicate it. This is again this number one understanding that we are all spirits having, we're spiritual beings having a human experience. We are all spirits, and all spirits can talk to all spirits, whether they're in physical or non-physical form. and your animal communication obviously really showed you that. That's so cool. So cool. So what was it? What was the turning point for you that really inspired you to say, I need to do this some kind of work to help other people? Like, I mean, you have, again, as you said, from astrology to tarot to I mean, your communication. You've got, I mean, your repertoire or your resume in terms of what you have practiced, what you understand, I mean, is astounding. And so what was the deciding factor that it was like, you know what, I need to look at doing something here in order to help people with all of the stuff I got going on?
Well, it was a push from a friend. Actually, it wasn't,
Wow.
I had been doing a lot of astrology and a lot of tarot. And a friend of mine had an event and she said, I would love for you to come and do this event. And I'm thinking, okay, cool. She's going to ask me to do astrology.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's what I've been doing, And then she goes, oh, aha. Then she rang the doorbell. No. But then she says, hey, I'd like for you to do tarot instead. And I thought, oh crap, what?
Yeah.
I I don't know if I'm ready for this, even though I pull cards all the time and I just, love pulling cards. And
Yes.
yeah, I am totally ready to be doing this.
Yeah, exactly. I totally want to do this.
I'm ready.
the,
So
the ultimate yes no equation that's going on, right? Saying
yeah,
yes and feeling no.
exactly. And it was those readings that really solidified for me that I actually do know what I'm talking about and I can get messages. Like
Right.
when I'm reading for somebody, I can see messages come in. I hear messages come in, and I don't always know what they mean, just like we've been talking about for an entire week. I don't
Right.
always know, but you have to say it out loud, kind of like Shauna was talking about yesterday. Like you have
Right.
to just go with it because sometimes you have no idea. But it was a friend that
Yeah.
pushed me. And then for mediumship, it was spirit that pushed me.
Oh, wow.
It was spirit that pushed me. It was during our group readings, and it wasn't even a reading for me. This is
Wow.
how spirit came through. So we were doing a group reading, and one of the women got an intuitive hit um, from a small boy who had passed away from cancer. And I was like, everyone in the room was looking around like, that's not for me. And I just was like, it's mine.
Yeah.
And how that was special was it was a friend of mine whose son I've never met in person, whom I haven't spoken to in years, who I worked with in a foreign country,
Wow.
and whose journey I followed on Instagram. And Spirit brought me a message through a different medium for his mother. And that will fly open your mediumship closet so fast. I'm telling you, okay, great. You've given me something that I can't say no to.
Right. Right.
Like a message for a mother. Like you
Right.
don't not
Like,
deliver those.
absolutely, like to know the enormity of loss of a child, and for this little boy to be coming in and asking that you be the one to deliver it on his behalf. How do you say no?
How do you say no?
You
You
can't
don't
say
say
no.
no.
You don't say
You
no.
don't say no. So
Mm-mm.
that was an awkward conversation because I don't have her phone number. It was like a Instagram, hi. I don't know if you've noticed that I've been posting about tarot and other things. By the way, I also do mediumship. I hope you know, this isn't very intrusive, but I have a message for you that I need to deliver. And I want to know if you're open to it. Like you gotta find out,
Right.
because I've didn't have such great experiences revealing, regardless being younger or even in adult life. So she was open to it and was very, very, very in need of that message at that
Oh,
time. It was an amazing time for that message to come through. She said, it couldn't have been from anyone else.
right.
And yeah, it was very touching to be able to deliver that heartfelt message to her at a time when she really needed it.
Yes.
Her friend had suggested that she go to a medium like the week before, and she just didn't call. She
Mhm.
did not call. And so her son found another way
Right.
to get to me, to
This
get
is
to her.
oh my gosh, like this is how it works. It's like spirit orchestrates phenomenal things in order to bring people together. And here, and I can just envision this all. Here's this little boy going, I really need to talk to my mom. I really need to get some messages. So he gets a friend to suggest or someone to go see a medium. And she's like, no. And he's like, oh, hang on a second. I know a better way. I'm going to bring from around the globe somebody completely out of the blue for my mom so she can be willing, and it needs to be the right person. And
Yeah.
spirit chooses us. We don't. This is again, we've talked lots about competition over the last 2 days. We did with Sunny. Sean brought it up again last night, how there is no need for competition. This is about, supporting and helping and
Mhm.
demonstrating a way of being able to be of service for benefit for all people, and to know that this is again, spirit chooses us. We're not the ones who are out there. It's not of the amount of marketing we do, the amount of advertising we do. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with our heart. It has to do with our bias. It has to do because of a connection that we don't even know or understand, but spirit does. And spirit brings the people in front of us. Every single person that sits in front of us, spirit has chosen the medium for us, for them, for their loved
Mhm.
one. It's not arranged any other way. It doesn't happen any other way. It's so
No.
profound and beautiful.
And it's true, like spirit chooses you on your bias, like your
Yeah.
experiences in life, because,
Yes.
I had to see my mom go through the loss of my brother.
Right.
And so I could understand from like the outside looking in how that felt,
Right. And
right?
you
So
experienced your mom's grief alongside her, and you understood it to a depth, and he recognized that you would get it and you'd be able to speak to it based on your personal experience. And
exactly.
it's so beautiful and so profound, and yeah, and it's funny how spirit calls us out, it happens for all of us in some way. So one of the things, of course, that you mentioned here as you were sharing, and is a big part of what can be a fear for a lot of mediums, are the challenges that come in terms of other people and their beliefs and their opinions, which can make it very hard and difficult for us to be able to step forward and do this work as well. And I actually had a conversation with a client earlier today where this is a part, the worry and fear over what's my partner going to think, what are my children going to think, what are my friends and family going to think, and becomes very debilitating. And where this longing, I just want to be who I am, and I just want to do this work, and I know the healing benefit, and this feels so purposeful and powerful, and yet you're met with the challenges. So tell us a little bit about, what was some of that upset for you? What did you have to go through, Shauna?
Oh, well, the animal communication class that I took was kind of was awesome. I was so ecstatic from that weekend because I had grown so much. And I came home to share it with my husband, someone who I share everything with,
Right.
everything, who supports my tarot practice, who, gets me out there. Like, what? do another astrology reading, you know, is always trying to push me for business and all these things. And, you know, and we were just sitting at the kitchen table talking about, you know, our day. And he's like, "How was your day? What is this animal communication course?" And I was like, "Oh." And then, you know, then he was shocked. He was surprised. And what came out was not anything that I had expected
Mm.
at all. And that was kind of a mic drop moment where I thought, oh God, like that was the too much,
Mm.
you know? And that was something that I had to realize, like that wasn't mine.
Yes.
Yeah. And that wasn't my problem. It wasn't my thing to hang on to, but it was very hard for me for a really long time to share with my husband things that I saw. Like, because you can't, I just love having other mediums and people that do spiritual work as friends because
Yes.
you can say those things. You can
Right.
say, I talk to dead animals, and they say, yeah, I talk to dead animals too.
Exactly right.
Right? But
Yes.
for other humans, you forget sometimes
Mhm.
that they haven't had those experiences
Right.
or that they can remember.
Hmm.
And so that you have to go about it maybe in a more gentle way. And
Yeah.
I
Right.
don't know. I know you know me, Bonnie, but you know, I
I know, but here's
not
the other
that way.
but I can really relate to everything
Yeah.
that you're saying. I think it's an important part of this important thing to have in terms of a conversation, in terms of relationships and things that come up. And I know that, my husband and I, we go back and even talking at this point in time in this journey. And he admits, like, had it not been for the fact that our kids were experiencing some things in the household, he would never have bought in to the fact that this was a possibility. It was because he would never have believed me based on his conditioning, his beliefs. And even when I did step forward to do this work, he was very like apprehensive, and he seemed to really be almost like resistant and against me doing it. And what it came about was in the fact that he was resistant to it is the fact that he actually loved me so much that he wanted to protect me, and he didn't know how to protect me. And so that became the issue. That became more of it than anything, is because he didn't want anyone to say anything about me, that because he loved me. And so his was from a place of protection, but it was also very wounding and hurting, because it was like he was pushing back on me, and he was and not being supportive at the time. And I say at the time because I'm sure, and of course, as you can attest to it too, that the more that you accept it, the more that you begin to embrace it, the more that you become more confident, and in even in terms of in healthy ways of approaching this, and healthy ways to have conversations around it, that eventually they too begin to kind of relax into it, and it becomes this new normal in life, right? But at first it can be met with a lot of pushback and from our most significant people sometimes.
Yeah. Well, and it was, I like what you said, Bonnie, because, you know, there was a moment in time when I wasn't doing this, right?
Mhm.
When
Mhm.
we met, this wasn't a thing in my life that
Right.
he knew about, right? Like I had oracle cards, some tarot. That was about it.
Yeah.
Like I didn't use them around him all the time. I wasn't in deep meditations like I do. Like,
Right.
I wasn't doing any of those things. So when, you know, the crystals started coming out and then they started accumulating and then all of a sudden they are a part of the house. And, you know, we're decorating with them, you know, like
Right.
then he's very open and supportive, but this
Yeah.
one thing was definitely a bit harder
Mm-hmm.
at that time, and we've come a long way.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And I think that, you know, and this is the other piece of understanding from a, I wouldn't say even from you know, a bigger or a larger perspective of things is to understand that, you know, as difficult as it is for us to step forward and those relationships, those ones where with the people who we truly love and we know who truly love us, that this is a part of the contract, you know, at our soul level. Like they signed on for this too. They signed on to be a part of this world, to be supportive, to, you know, participate in some way. And so even though it gets difficult and challenging, it's like I always think, you know, or my husband, I'm like, well, you know what, it might be weird and it might be all of these things for you, but you know what, honey, you signed up for it too. So, you know, we're a part of this together, right? So it's just one of the ways that we begin to understand that this is something that not only was decided or we decided before we came into this world, but those whom we're in relationship with, they decided to be a part of this journey with us, right? So they before they got here too. They just don't always remember it in the moment. And so we're a part of helping them to kind of move into that a little bit more. Now it's not saying that sometimes our, you know, our close relationships do fall away and, you know, friendships and I've known that there have been, you know, people whose relationships have not been on solid ground, that when this came forward, that it was the breaking point, or like as you said, that was the too much in the relationship where it becomes the, you know, things fall apart. But here again too, there is also a completion of a soul contract that takes place. And so when we look at even friendships and people that, you know, suddenly fall away from our lives, it's not, you know, they might be in resistance to it, but part of that is that there is a soul contract that's come into completion. And so it allows things to complete, and then we open up and we begin to have, you know, new relationships and new people that come into our lives. And like you said, suddenly we have a community where we can talk. He's like, hey, I thought, you know, I talked to dead people, hey, so do I, and this has been my experience. And this is why community is such an important part of this. Otherwise it feels very isolating and very difficult to go alone. So I really appreciate you sharing that. So I mean, the conversation goes so fast, and we could go even deeper into all of this, Shauna. But of course, there's always two important questions that I love to bring to the table. And of course, as you're aware, you've been here, you know, which I'm so grateful for. You've showed up every single night and celebrating and participating and being a presence here this week. When we look at, you know, mediums, when they're looking to come forward, when they are maybe in resistance of embracing their gifts or even hesitant in revealing, what advice do you have for them? What can you offer based on your experience?
I would say do it anyway. I know, like
Yeah.
so many people have said, but do it anyway. You're not crazy. It's not you in your mind. Like I really, for a very long time, I thought I was crazy because it comes through in my own voice a lot of the time. And I thought, okay, this isn't good. Like, you know, do I have to see a counselor? Do I see a psychiatrist? Like, what's happening here? And when I figured out how to separate the ego from the other voices, then I was able to really realize. But that was a really long road and a lot of training and a lot of time. Like I would say, come forward because it gets more fun. It gets more exciting. You get more songs, more signals, and if you need help, find a class.
Right.
And you'll build your confidence and it becomes easier and more enjoyable. Like it's
Yeah.
so much fun.
And
It's
it,
so much
that's
fun.
and even though, you know, it's a thank you for that, because even though we think of, you know, we're dealing with death and we're dealing with brokenheartedness and you know, this deep grief and everything and the messages, I mean, those connections can be. And yet, as you said, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to explore and to engage and to have the experiences, the direct experiences that again where you can't make it up. It's like the synchronicities that play out and the messages of it doesn't make sense to you, but all of a sudden it completely transforms someone's life. And you're like, oh my gosh, okay, that is really cool. I want to do more of that. That's really fun. What else is possible in all of this, right? It does. It becomes a real, I'm going to say, a real elated way to be living and experiencing life.
Yeah. Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. And I don't know, there's just moments, there's been moments when I haven't been able to hide it. I'll be doing a tarot reading and all of a sudden I burst out into song. The sun will come out tomorrow, tomorrow. Bet your bottom dollar that tomorrow there'll be sun. Does that have any meaning for you? Song? Like, the person across from me is laughing, right? And they're, oh, that's my favorite childhood song.
Wow.
And that's why you bring it forward, because they'll find a way.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
with my friend, like it's better on your own terms to
Mm-hmm.
bring those things forward.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Isn't that just it? I mean, and I mean, this is the silly things that happen. It's like, and I know we've talked a little bit with other people on this last week as well, that astrologers and even with tarot cards, they serve as a portal or an opening to the other side. So it becomes something that you're focused and looking on, and it allows for you to be very focused and mindful in that moment, but it also opens up, and all of a sudden this is coming forward. And as you said, suddenly you're singing songs and you're acting things out and you're saying things, and you're like, and the person across from you is not only laughing, but they're completely, I mean, it's shocking and beautiful. And yeah, I can just see it all for you. Oh my gosh. And then the seriousness, does that make sense to you?
Does that make sense to you? Like, is there a reason why this song just filtered through my being?
Yeah, I get so much guidance. Like I will often sing songs during readings and even when I'm doing group readings, things like that, because lyrics are such an easy way for spirit to communicate with us. And so they hit the button on a
Play
song, like a
button.
play button, and then it just goes off for us. And it really it becomes a very powerful, and because music connects us. Music connects us to memory. It connects us to significant things that played out in our life. It can even connect us to memories of, again, connection to other people, where we were, what we were doing, what was going on. And it's a powerful way for the spirit world to utilize our abilities in which to give and deliver their messages. So those songs in your head and those, again, are such important. You also said that voice inside your head, and that's important because sometimes it is not someone else's voice, and that's why it can seem super confusing, because we don't know that it's actually spirit communicating with us, because it's as if it's our own voice. So I mean, that's equally important for people to recognize as well. So I appreciate you sharing that as well. Now, of course, as you're aware, we also have a lot of individuals who are moving through their grieving process. They are seeking mediums. They are looking to learn more and understand more about life after death, in consideration of helping them in moving forward through their journey after the loss of someone that they've loved. What insight would you have to share for them?
I would say they're always there. They're always there no matter what. And yes, you can't touch them, but they are trying to reach you
Mm.
as much as they can, as fast as they can. They see you going through your grief and they want to comfort you. And that is very real. It is very real. And don't discount the messages that they're bringing to you. Don't swipe left on your brain. Don't logic it.
Yeah.
Don't try to, oh, the lights are flickering on and on. Oh, well, it's just short. Like
Right.
we're always trying to logic ourselves out of messages from our loved ones,
Yeah.
and they're there. And take your time.
Mm.
There's no rush. Takes time.
And you said it so poignantly at the start of our conversation as well, even as you were talking about the loss of your brother, where you said it never gets easier. We never get over those losses, and we don't. They're a part of our life. They're a part of our journey, and they are forever present, but they are forever missed
Mm.
as well. And so I love that. That be gentle. Take your time through this. This is really honoring the process. It's definitely not a sense of, time healing. Time doesn't do shit when it comes to the loss. It really doesn't. It is
No.
about, our ability to be able to feel through things, to have the memory, hold it sacred and the life sacred, and of course talk to them. They are there. They are reaching out. They are trying. They are supporting that grief journey. Such a beautiful message. Oh my
Mm.
gosh. Shauna, wow, amazing, amazing. So I want to turn over to, of course, everyone who is joining here. Again, opening up the chat. And if you guys have any questions about anything, please, 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 here we go. Veronica is asking, I love it. Questions coming in real quickly. Where did you take your animal communication class, Shauna?
Oh, I took it in Edmonton with Carmel Joy Baird.
Okay,
Hmm.
awesome. And I'm
Yeah.
sure, here again, just like in this particular class that you had, I know that there are some online opportunities that are available for that as well, Veronica. There are other individuals who have online training and online learning for that. And so definitely, if you're feeling a pull to, work with those fur babies, then by all means. I think that, I look at there is an individual, and I don't even know if she is actually I don't know if she does training or not. Oh man, I hope I get her name right. I believe her name is Kate McKinnon. And what she's discovered, she's a medium who works with animals, and she's discovered that in working with the animals and communicating with animals, that she's actually able to help the owners to heal, the owners to get the messages that they need, that the animal is the way and means in which the person can get the help. So not only is she the medium, but the animals serve as mediums for their humans as well, which is just phenomenal. So I'm not sure. I know she used to have courses, but that might be another direction to pursue for that if you're interested. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Faith is saying that her brother sent her a song lyric after he took his life.
Mm.
Hmm.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm so, oh my gosh. And, when we look at suicide, and we look at, the traumatic deaths, no different, Shauna, than, what you experienced with your family. It's really hard to
Mm.
reconcile. It's really hard to find some peace and understanding, because there can be so many questions that are still outstanding. And so it's beautiful, that Faith, that to have the lyric and to have the message within the song coming afterwards, which I'm sure was, so helpful for you on that journey. But, here again, it's just in holding the understanding of what a difficult, it's so difficult to move
Mhm.
through our losses. And I always say that to the degree in which we experience our sorrow or our grief is the degree in which we loved. And so it really demonstrates a deep, deep love that was shared within that relationship. Yeah, so beautiful, beautiful. Awesome. Okay. Yeah. Oh, I love Shauna. That, yeah, The Afterlife of Billy Fingers. That actually is a book that I have in the level 2 program as a course study, because it's such a really great one. It's also really good for helping and understanding, the other side, etc. And so, yeah, really, really great recommendation there. Yeah, Veronica. So, animal communication is absolutely a thing. And so when we look at, I remember even with my own dog, like my dog, when he would just come up and he would just stand in front of me, and I just, we could communicate, and I just knew that he needed to go outside, or I knew that he was hungry, or I knew that he wasn't feeling well, like whatever it was. Our dog never barked to go outside. He would just come and walk up to me, and it was like, oh, I knew exactly what he needed, because he was communicating with me. So as mediums, to know that we communicate with animals, that we're able to communicate, we're able to help and support their needs. And we don't, again, it's to understand that we mediums, we translate energy. This is energy energy communication, and our fur babies can communicate energetically with us as well. And so they have a spirit and we have a spirit, and so we're able to still communicate. And so yeah, it's really beautiful. And it's a very fun and interesting line of work for sure. Yeah, really, really great. Really great. All right. Anybody else have anything else to offer here? Any questions? You've got Shauna's attention. You've got my attention. Anything? Anything? Oh my gosh. I always like to wait a minute because I know sometimes plugging in a question, you may even just haven't even hit send yet. So we want to make sure that we've got that. But yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. So it doesn't look like there's anything more coming in. I wanted to say thank you, Shauna. I mean, again, I know, I mean, from our previous conversations, we could sit and we could talk even more about your experiences and what what has brought you to where you are. And again, I know that you're someone who is so driven by purpose in this. And so I want to thank you for your willingness not only to come and to share your story, but of course, for the work that you are doing and the help that you are bringing and the healing that you're making available through you showing up and doing this work. So thank you very much for following your heart on this, but more importantly, having followed that little person who was needing to get that message forward to his mom. So it's beautiful, really, truly beautiful. All right, everyone. And so thank you so much for being here. Oh my gosh, tomorrow we are wrapping up the event already, which is crazy to me, but we're so lucky. We're still fortunate to share in a conversation with Amanda Solskius, and she's going to be here to share her phenomenal journey and story as well. So thank you so much, everyone. God bless. And I will definitely be here tomorrow night, same time, same place. All right.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Bonnie.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.